Yo, what is up everyone? This is Francis over here from PlayerEssence.com and welcome to the PlayerEssence Cross Nintendo. So this is a bit of a slow week for Nintendo as far as news goes, but I still wanted to talk about something that I've been meaning to do for a while, so I said, hey, let's do it on a PlayerEssence Cross Nintendo. And that's some of the practical keys for Nintendo's next system, codenamed NX, to be successful. Many people are theorizing, and based on what Nintendo has said, that this is their next home console. So keep in mind that this video is based upon that theory, that it is their next home console. And add to the fact that Reggie Fils-Aimé kind of said it was the next home console, I'm going off of that. So let's talk about the first thing, as far as just being practical, normal type deals, and that is an Ethernet port. A lot of people don't think that that's a big deal, or probably thinking, what, an Ethernet port? But believe it or not, a lot of gamers were pretty upset when Nintendo didn't have an Ethernet port, because here's the thing. When you're playing certain games, especially games that rely on peer-to-peer connections, like let's say Super Smash Bros. Or other fighting games, having an Ethernet port plugged in is the best way to get the best connection possible. Nintendo does sell a separate Ethernet port that you can buy, but at the same time forcing that cost onto consumers instead of just having one in there like most systems have had since the 7th generation, that would be something that would really just appeal to the core gamers and just make sure that everybody who plays Nintendo's games, especially peer-to-peer connection games like Smash Bros, have the best possible connection they can have right from the start, not having to buy anything extra. The next thing that I want to talk about is support for Dolby Digital, DTS Digital. All of that should be supported. One of the things that really made me upset about the Wii U, the fact that I couldn't use it with my sound system that I already had. I had to have a sound system that had an HDMI out, and it only does the LPCM uncompressed audio. I would like to have it to where I can just have Dolby Digital, I can have DTS Digital, I can use my headsets that I had. A lot of gaming headsets like Astros and stuff aren't compatible with it because there's no optical out. So just being able to have an optical out to support all of those sound settings that we already have on our PlayStation and Xbox systems, that I feel actually sounds better, because I actually picked up a surround sound that's supported by Wii U, basically just being HDMI, and I didn't feel it sounded that much better than my PlayStation or Xbox, even though they say it's the best uncompressed sound or something like that. So in my opinion, I do feel that they need to have that in there, because it's another added cost. The fact that it doesn't work with your headset that you already have, or it doesn't work with your sound system. So that's another thing that actually there's a big thread on NeoGAF where people were kind of upset, but that was back then. Let's move on to the next thing that I think that the Nintendo NX has to have. And this is something that I've talked about a lot, but I do want to talk about it a little bit more. And that is a clear focus on who you're trying to sell this system to. Now, Nintendo has always been about inclusive, casual gaming, family gaming, and things like that, and that is fine. But the problem is that when you split the base and when you want to have a system that says, okay, we're going to have Wii Fit, we're going to have Wii Sports Club, oh, and we're also going to have like Bayonetta and stuff like that, it doesn't really fit in either area. Now, I'm not saying Nintendo has to go either or, but the problem is that when you put resources and development into those type of games like Wii Fit U, and you have a big balance board that comes packaged with it, gamers look at that, especially people that are looking to purchase games the most, not the casual gamers that only buy a few games as far as exercise stuff that did in the Wii era. I'm talking about the core gamers that really want to spend a lot of money. They look at that and say, well, is this company always going to produce games for me all the time? And if you've looked at Nintendo's track record as far as releasing Wii and Wii U games, they're very spotty. They take a long time in between. So if you're a gamer that isn't hardcore into Nintendo, and you see stuff like Wii Fit U coming out, you see stuff like Wii Sports Club, you see stuff like Game & Wario, you see all of these platformers and these mini game collections alongside the good stuff like Smash Bros, you don't feel confident that Nintendo's going to support this system if third parties leave. And that's kind of what happened, because third parties aren't around as much. So if you're Nintendo, I think with the Nintendo NX, you really need to have a clear focus of who you're trying to market this system to, what type of games are going to be on the system, and don't waste resources trying to appeal to the huge casual market of people that liked Wii Fit U. Don't waste resources, don't waste time producing balance boards. Do not waste time doing those things, because in the end, all it did was just hurt the Wii U's image as far as its reputation with core gamers, and also took development time and resources that could have went to a game that Nintendo could have used. Another thing that I would also like to add on this, and it kind of piggybacks that, is gameplay and genre diversity. Now, I already know that I'm going to have a ton of people saying, oh, well, there's Star Fox, and oh, well, there's Bayonetta, and oh, well, there's Hyrule Warriors, and yes, I understand. Nintendo has a lot of great games, but the problem is this. I've counted more than 15 platformers and minigame collections combined on the Wii U compared to less than 10 open world RPG or shooter games that Nintendo has backed themselves. Okay, so there's third-party ports, early ones of those genres, but Nintendo themselves have not developed games in the most popular genres, and the most popular genres in today's day are shooter, RPG, open world action adventure. Those are the three most popular, and Nintendo is not developing on that. They do have a game like Splatoon, and guess what? Splatoon's a shooter, a very innovative one at that, and look how well Splatoon is done. Splatoon is done so well. Okay, so Nintendo needs to develop in those genres more. I would love to see Nintendo's take on a Mass Effect, or Nintendo's take on The Witcher, or Nintendo's take on Batman Arkham Knight, or games in that open world type setting, because those are the type of games that sell systems. Those are the type of games that a lot of core gamers that buy a lot of stuff like to play. Platformers and minigame collections are great for short-term cash because they have a very low development cost and you can pump them out, but the problem is that people don't buy systems for those games. And yeah, you'll get your Nintendo gamers who love those type of games buying your system, but it will be very few, as the Wii U has shown. Those genres are not popular anymore. Now, in the 7th generation with Nintendo Wii, those genres were very popular, so I don't 100% fault Nintendo for going in that area, but at the same time having a complete lack of foresight to look at RPGs and to look at shooters and stuff like that and bring those games. And look, I know they have Xenoblade Chronicles X and they have Shin Megami Tensei Crossfire. I know those two games are coming, but here's the thing, they're coming. They're still not out yet. The Wii U is in its 3rd year and it's still only getting its first major open world RPG developed by Nintendo. That is a problem, and when you don't have third-party support putting out games like Dragon Age, putting out games like The Witcher 3 to help in the meantime while you make your games, it runs into a problem with a lot of core fanbase like myself who saw the Wii U gamepad and was expecting great open world RPGs with second screen experiences. I thought we were going to get those type of RPGs, and only having one, which will be released in 2015, one RPG in 3 years is 100% unacceptable, guys. There's no way to defend that. It is really just unacceptable, especially in today's market. You need to have a lot of RPGs. It's one of the most popular franchises out there, and Nintendo completely ignored that, and there should have been well more than 2 RPGs in development since the Wii U launched. There should have at least been 5 or 6. There should have been 3 launched at least by this point, and there should at least be 5 or 6, you know, by the end of this year, and we're only having 1. There are some old third-party ports like Mass Effect 3, and there's Darksiders, and there's Deus Ex, but those are old. I'm talking about brand new games. Nintendo really needs to make sure with the Nintendo NX that they go to that fan base. I mean, and they also had Dragon Quest, but that never came over to North America. There are also indie RPGs, but I'm talking about first-party developed RPGs from Nintendo, and also open world games. I think The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD is a testament to what Nintendo could do in the open world genre, and the fact that they didn't invest more into that or didn't put more. They need to look not at just the short-term profits as far as making platformers and minigame collections and making money off those, but look at the prospects of making a big game and spending a little bit more, and also getting more people to buy your system because you do that. Nintendo with the NX, they need to make sure that they have that genre diversity in the most popular games. It can't just be 1 or 2 here and there, and you can't take 3 years to put it out. You have to have them at launch, you have to have them in the 2nd year, 3rd year, and going forward. And probably for my last practical point to make the NX successful, and I think this is a bigger deal than some people might think, but it has to be a Pokemon game. Now, the Pokemon game needs to be a big, massive Pokemon game. If you have that type of game on the console, I'm telling you, it's going to do very well, and I think that's one of the key games that Nintendo has to have for the NX to be a success, because I think Pokemon drives so much traffic and drives so many people to the platform that it's on. I think the Nintendo 3DS alone has benefited so much from having Pokemon on there that core gamers just snap that thing up, and despite the sales dip, Pokemon has really boosted that platform along with a lot of other games. So I think that Pokemon is very important for Nintendo to have it on a console and developed by Game Freak. Not a spin-off, not something like Pokken Tournament, not that, but an actual core Pokemon game developed for the Nintendo NX. Now, it could come to another handheld platform if Nintendo decides to do that, or it can come to the 3DS, but I do think that they do need that big Pokemon game, and it needs to be a main one. It cannot be some type of spin-off or something developed by somebody else. So I do have more thoughts as far as what I think the NX needs to be successful, especially with the Nintendo Network ID and messaging and all that, but I really want to talk about just game-related and practical things. I do think that I am going to do another video talking about some of the OS level stuff, which I've already discussed so many times. The OS level stuff that Nintendo needs to do for the NX to be successful, but that's probably going to be another video. Alright, so that basically wraps it up for this episode of PlayerEssence Across Nintendo. Let me know what your practical things for Nintendo NX to be successful in the comment section below. Alright, make sure you hit that like button if you did like this video. Let me know you guys want more videos just like this one, and also hit that subscribe button to get all the latest news on Nintendo. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and we'll see you for the next one. Peace.